This program is suitable for all audiences.
Also coming up later in the show, we have, as we're going to start doing every month, an ASEAN Affairs. ASEAN, of course, being Association of Southeast Asian Nations. We have an update that will explain to you some of the things that are going on within the region, both politically and also in terms of administrations and changes, economies, many different facets, and it will be Kun Roy that's presenting this new segment on the show.
Well, at the head of the program, we said that we were going to regularly bring you an Asian Roundup. We're going to bring that to you every Tuesday, the first Tuesday of every month. So today is the first day, and we thought we'd have our expert from ASEAN Affairs. Of course, you know Mr. S. Roy. Thanks for joining us. Firstly, ASEAN Charter, will there be ratification?
Very important question, and that is the most important development in ASEAN actually in 40 years of its history. Yes, Surin Pitsuwan, the ASEAN Secretary General, thinks so. 6 countries have ratified the Charter. 4 remaining countries are Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines and Myanmar. Thailand he expects to ratify before the summit takes place in Bangkok before the end of this year. And Myanmar, the other country which everybody talks about, has also said they will ratify. So we should see the ratification happening by the end of this year.
So what does it mean to have everybody signing the Charter?
Signing the Charter means, for the first time in the history of ASEAN, they have a document which binds them legally as a legal entity.
You were going to bring us updates on really topical issues, and I guess rice is a topical issue. So
yes.
How, in fact, is ASEAN as a whole reacting to the crisis?
As you know, the entire world is going through twin double blow of food and fuel, and the food crisis. Now, ASEAN happens to be the part of the world where you have the 2 largest rice exporters right here, Thailand and Vietnam. Also the largest importer in the world of rice is here in ASEAN, the Philippines. So the countries in ASEAN won't face that kind of shortage, let's say just in Africa, because they produce enough. But many of the major governments here, the governments have taken major steps. Thailand has released stockpiles to ease inflation. Philippines has banned speculation. Vietnam is trying to curtail the exports. So various measures have been put in place.
How is the EU viewing ASEAN? And I think recently you may have had an interview.
That's right. The European Union is very, very serious about doing an FTA, a free trade agreement deal with ASEAN. They have a time frame of 2 years. Critics say 2 years is no way, at least 4 years, even 5 years. It may take that much of time. But the process is under intense negotiation. And recently, I spoke to the topmost diplomat of the European Union, Mr. Philippe Meyer, who's leading his team from the European Union, from the European Commission Brussels, in the FTA negotiation talks. In the process of the EU-ASEAN FTA so far, what, according to you, have been the achievements so far?
The achievements are that first we managed to launch those negotiations. We managed, after a feasibility study, after a preparatory phase, we managed to have an agreement by all ministers to launch the process. And this is, I think, already a very great achievement. Now, as you said, we have a number of challenges ahead of us. The second achievement, I think, is not only we have launched negotiations at political level, but we have already had a few meetings of our joint committee, and this week, just before this seminar, we've had a first excellent exchange of views on a number of issues that are crucial for this negotiation.
So that brings me to the question on the road ahead. What are the challenges?
But I would say the first real challenge that was factored in our decision to engage in negotiation is probably the fact that we talk to a region which is a region in the political sense of the term, but not a region if you look at what we call a region in the European community. There is no real economic integration in the region for the moment. And of course we have to bring together a number of countries with different levels of development, different growth, different wealth, different languages, and countries which have not had, as we in the EU, this desire over the last 50 years to build something together and something which would be a real economic community. We are more than delighted that this is among the plans in the ASEAN Charter, but I'm not sure that for the moment they have any intention to go as far as we have been in the EU in terms of integration. So the challenge will be how to make the progress in the talks match the progress in the integration of the region itself.
So finally, the series of seminars, which is part of engaging civil society and think tanks
Yes.
at large to apprise them of the negotiation process. You have called this treaty, which is Trans-Regional EU-ASEAN Trade Initiative.
Congratulations.
Seminars. I got through it. So you're focusing in Bangkok, and I understand you're going to have the seminars in Philippines next,
Yeah.
and then Indonesia, and then Hanoi. But in Bangkok today, why have you decided to focus on these two sectors, financial services and telecoms?
Because services are very important in modern economies. Services are crucial to development. Good services must be available to business, including manufacturing business. We are at the beginning of those FTA negotiations. We wouldn't like to see them focusing on trade in goods. Trade in goods is important, but in modern economies, trade in services is even more important. In the ASEAN region, trade in services amount to about half the growth of a country as an average.
Right.
In the EU, it's 2/3, in the States as well. So they are important and they are often overlooked. In addition, a number of services are protected. We see protectionist reflexes all around the world. We see them in this part of the world as well. You do not open those sectors to investment coming from other countries, and if you mean investment, the second thought to have is transfer of know-how. So by protecting a sector, basically you delay the evolution, the development in the country. And we think that in an FTA, we think that in an integrated market, we need to have access to our respective services markets. And as we think there's a deficit on information on that, it's good to start at the beginning of our negotiations with a treaty seminar on services. It's not the first one since the launch of our negotiations. We had one in Brussels 3 months ago on regional integration, because here as well we want to share with our Asian friends the benefit of the integration we have seen in the European Union.
Hope you enjoyed our first edition of ASEAN Roundup, which we will bring you on the first Tuesday of every month. Today you heard us covering the major developments, the ratification of the Charter, the rice crisis, and the EU trade negotiation in ASEAN. I'm S. Roy, editor and publisher of ASEAN Affairs, online and print edition. For more information on ASEAN, go to www.aseanfs.com. Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us, and see you in a month's time.
Thank you very much. I look forward to it.
Thank you.